Here's the therapist position and focus for the Snow Angel technique. I can't express enough how so many of our instructors and our therapists really underestimate the power of our Snow Angel technique. For many of our patients, what they don't realize is that so much of the neck tightness and the compensation that happens all has a direct impact on what's happening through this pectoralis major, pec minor, subscap region within this shoulder girdle. So if Jenna turns to her side here, so many people spend a tremendous amount of time and money trying to resolve neck pain issues by just specifically only touching the neck. But we have to realize is that the neck really is at the mercy of what the shoulder girdle is doing. And if the shoulder girdle starts to medially rotate and it starts to go into ventral drag and we start to go into kyphosing, it starts to pull that head down. So then the compensation mechanism from there is that the upper part of that cervical spine have to go into extension to bring that head back up. And if she were driving in her car, we can see that this is a pretty common position. If she's texting, if she's on her laptop, this tightness on this front half is really a huge contributor to what's going on, especially for that SCM, and that as that SCM gets pulled down and forward, the scapula start going under strain, so that levator scapula is at full tension. And so being able to get a shift out of all of this is a huge impact in being able to help our clients address their neck pain. So what we're going to have Jenna do is she's just going to get back on the roller. So we're having her off the roller to show that information. So now we want to make sure that when she is on the roller, we have her, she just finished with the lasagna pan technique. Now, as she finished with the lasagna pan technique, she can just go right into this Snow Angel technique. So again, what we're gonna make sure is that our clients have the ability to be comfortable here within that shoulder girdle. If you have a client who's maybe had some dislocated shoulder issues or an AC separation, a broken clavicle here real recently, having their arm posterior to them while they're on the roller might be a little too much for them here. So in order to address this, we would again have them lace their fingers together. Go ahead. And then she's just going to rest all of that on her abdomen. So now that the shoulder girdle is more soft through here, that's going to take a tremendous amount of strain and tension off of that cervical spine through here. The other piece that we really always need to keep in mind when we're working with our patients with this technique is that if their knees are held together, it's going to put stress and tension into the hips, which ultimately puts stress and tension through this whole chain into the neck. And then if their feet are together, they start to become very unstable on the roller, and then they're going to really hold throughout their core and their trunk, which again is going to put extra stress and tension through that cervical spine. So making sure that they have some space within their feet and the knees are nice and soft, they're not pinching together, is going to be a key on being able to get all of this tissue at the top end of this chain to soften. So from here, we're going to have her go into, the arms are going to be right down by her side. Now, nice and easy, we're going to start with the bilateral Snow Angels with our patients. So as they go through this motion, what you really want to pay attention to is that if they're getting any significant pop or thunk as they're going through that, one of the ways to help address that is that you would just have them come anterior or forward of where that catch is, and sometimes just getting around that catch will allow them to continue through that motion. Some of our clients will think that this is only effective if they're feeling an extensive amount of stress or tension as they're working through here, and we have to encourage them and remind them that no pain, no gain no longer applies. It is very important that they really keep that in mind. So what might need to happen is that depending on what's going on within that neck and that shoulder girdle as they're doing this technique is that maybe her right arm is tighter than the left. So the right Snow Angel might be a little higher than the left, even though that she has full range of motion, and that's totally okay. We want them to just be where they're at and where they can be comfortably. So as what will happen as she does this a couple of days a week over the next over the next month or so, is that those will start to equal out. The more safe the brain feels, the more range of motion it's going to let the fascial tissue and the muscle tissue have. Remember, with this process, we're not actually lengthening out fascial tissue as we roll, because we know fascial tissue has 2,000 pounds per square inch of tensile strength. So what's changing these tissues is the nervous system believing that it can do these motions comfortably and safely. So as she were to do 4 or 5 of those, we're going to go to our next version of this. So the next version is what's called our unilateral snow angels. So from here, what I would encourage her to do is that if she's going to work her left side, she brings her right arm on her belly if she needs to, or she can let it relax down by her side. And then nice and easy, she's just going to snow angel one side at a time. The benefit that this is going to have for people is that if she were to do both arms at the same time, what that does is that it pulls the whole sheet tight across the front. When she does one side at a time, it gives some softness to her right side, so it's going to let her left side have a little bit more fabric to be able to get through this range of motion, and it might actually give your clients a little more, some more levels of comfort as they're accomplishing this task. So she would do 4 or 5 snow angels on her left side, unilaterally 4 or 5 on her right side, and that's going to be another level of change that we're going to elicit. And again, the big thing to keep in mind is as she's doing these snow angels, not only is it opening up and softening this tissue on the front, which will soften the neck, but as her scapula are articulating and that medial margin is rubbing against that roller, it's working the insertion point of those rhomboids, and it's working that certain margins of the trapezius, especially where a lot of people notice a lot of buildup or tension within, and they call them trigger points, but it's just gluing together of tissue through those regions. And so we're getting kind of a two for a bang, a bang for the buck with both the front and the back side. So after she finishes unilateral snow angels, we're going to come into the third iteration of this, which is going to be our alternating wing snow angels. So what Jenna's going to do is that one arm is going to start up, one arm is going to start down, and nice and easy, she's just going to alternate her wings as she's doing this. Now the beauty behind this is that this has a little bit different of an impact of what we've done before. So now as those scapula are going into upward rotation and downward rotation, it's actually encouraging that nervous system to contract and soften in a different way, and we're going to see more change out of this tissue as we continue to stimulate the nervous system in a different way. It puts different tensional pressures into the scapula on that posterior side of the body as she's doing this motion, and it's going to have a really important impact on being able to continue to get that neck to soften as those scapula continue to float back more towards the medial side or the midline, so they're not so stretched out or winged out through there. And then the last phase that we can have our clients do with this, and again in your clinic, maybe you give one of these phases each week as they're coming in to see you. You don't have to overwhelm them with so much information all at one time, so we could kind of stagger these. So the last piece is we're going to add a little bit of myofascial work or self-massage, whatever term you use in your particular clinic. So let's say Jenna's going to work her left side. So what she's going to do is she's going to use her right hand. She's going to use the finger pads of her right hand. She's not going to use the fingertips. What a lot of people will want to do is that they'll want to push with their fingertips and really dig into this. And remember, no pain, no gain no longer applies. And so much research is coming out the last 4 or 5 years that shows that gentle pressure is just as effective as any deep pressure, especially if it's causing pain or discomfort. So what Jenna's going to do is she's just going to put her fingers on the distal portion of that sternum, and she's going to just work 4 or 5 slow, small circles in that particular area where she has her hand. After 4 or 5 small circles from here, she's just going to move her hand up. She's also going to move her arm further up. She's going to repeat that 4 or 5 small circles. And again, where she's at is that she's just a little bit lateral. She's just into the left tendinous aspects of that pectoralis major. And that's going to really help kind of encourage those Golgi tendon organs to maybe not hold so hard or do so much work as they go into protection mode as we get locked down on that front side of the body. So for most people, this is going to be like 3 or 4 areas. If I have, a really tall guy or gal, 6'5", 6'6", and their sternum is really long, they might, get a couple more in there. But for most people, they're going to do a few different spots along the sternum as the arm continues to go up. And this is going to have a powerful impact on changing what's happening in the neck, especially on that posterior upper cervical spine, because as this tissue pulls down and forward, the compensation is for that upper back cervical cervical spine to try to play tug of war with it, and it just can't compete. So the more this front side softens and opens and lifts up, it's going to allow that cervical spine to float back. The scapula are going to be able to settle down. That levator scapula, the longissimus, all of these tissues in and through here, the splenius capitis and splenius cervicis are all going to get to soften and let go because that head isn't so far forward. And this piece is an important element that so many people leave out when they're trying to address neck pain with their students or their clients. So that will conclude and finish the Snow Angel technique.